Everything comes from God and everything returns to God. We are just like a hose. People are flowers, music is the water, we're a hose.
For decades, Carlos Santana kept it all hidden: the pain, the betrayal, the moments when he begged for the suffering to stop. The world knew him as the rock legend who set Woodstock on fire, but few realized he had attempted to end his life 7 times. Now, at 77, Santana is pulling back the curtain and revealing the darkest moments that shaped his journey, his music, and his soul. Carlos Santana's early life was full of hardship and emotional turmoil. Born in Mexico in 1947, he was introduced to music at a young age by his father, who played violin in mariachi bands. At the age of 8, Carlos and his family moved to Tijuana, a move that would change his life dramatically. One day, while wandering in a park, he saw a local band called the TJs playing rock music. That moment sparked his love for blues and rock, igniting a passion that would shape his future. But life in Tijuana wasn't easy. For 2 years, Carlos was abused by an American man who lured him across the border with toys and clothes, a traumatic experience that ended only when the man hit Carlos for glancing at a woman. The guilt and confusion from that time stayed with Carlos for many years. By the age of 15, Carlos was playing guitar in Tijuana strip clubs, exposed to a gritty and dangerous environment. He witnessed disturbing scenes, like a police officer mistreating a woman who worked in one of the clubs. Despite the darkness around him, these experiences helped him develop a unique sound that blended Latin music with blues and rock. In the early 1960s, Santana moved to the U.S. and worked as a dishwasher at the TikTok drive-in, saving every penny in hopes of buying immigration papers and a new Stratocaster guitar. But one day, he discovered that his mother had used his entire savings of $300 to pay for his sister's dental work. When he confronted her, she gave him only $20 back. Feeling betrayed, Carlos left home with just that $20 and returned to Tijuana to survive by playing in strip clubs once again. Eventually, he made his way back to San Francisco, where life was anything but glamorous. He shared a small, overcrowded apartment in the Mission District with other musicians, sleeping on the floor and surviving on rice and beans. He couldn't afford proper guitar strings and had to use broken ones or whatever he could find. Still, Carlos never gave up on his dream. He began performing on the streets of San Francisco, playing for hours at places like Fisherman's Wharf and Union Square. Some days he made less than $5, but the exposure to jazz, folk, and other musical styles helped him refine his sound and catch the attention of passers-by. The turning point came in 1966 when Carlos formed his first band, the Santana Blues Band. It all happened by chance. While working at the drive-in, he met Tom Fraser, who introduced him to keyboardist Greg Rowley. They soon brought in other musicians like bassist David Brown and percussionist Marcus Malone. Michael Carabello suggested naming the group Santana because it was catchy and memorable. Santana's rise to fame happened as if it were written in the stars. Their big break came at Woodstock in 1969, thanks to legendary promoter Bill Graham, who insisted that the festival organizers include Santana if they wanted his support. At that time, Santana was virtually unknown, their first album hadn't even been released, and the 400,000 people at Woodstock had no idea who they were. They were just a small local band from San Francisco, with roots in Tijuana bars. On August 16, 1969, Santana was given a 45-minute afternoon slot between iconic acts like the Grateful Dead and Creedence Clearwater Revival. What made Santana's Woodstock performance even more incredible was Carlos Santana's mental state during the show. At just 22 years old, he had flown to the festival by helicopter, believing the band wouldn't perform until around 3 a.m. While waiting, he had an unexpected encounter with Jerry Garcia of the Grateful Dead, who offered him a psychedelic substance, possibly peyote, mescaline, or something similarly powerful. Moments later, Santana was on stage, tripping, trying desperately to control his guitar, which he later said looked like a writhing snake in his hands. Despite it all, he delivered one of the most electrifying performances of the entire festival, cementing his legacy and launching him into rock history. The hallucinogen hit Carlos Santana hard. By the time he was called to perform at Woodstock, much earlier than expected, he was already deep into a vivid trip. On stage, he hallucinated that the neck of his guitar was moving like a snake, and the terrifying vision nearly overwhelmed him. To stay grounded, Santana closed his eyes and relied entirely on muscle memory, letting his fingers find the notes. At one point, he even prayed, begging God not to let him embarrass himself in front of the massive crowd. Despite the chaos in his mind, Santana delivered an unforgettable performance that changed everything. Their Woodstock set turned the Santana band into overnight stars. Promoter Bill Graham had warned Carlos that fame would hit fast, and he was right. Just 2 weeks after Woodstock, on August 30th, 1969, Santana's debut album was released, and the timing couldn't have been better. Suddenly, they were no longer just a local San Francisco act. They were a national sensation. Graham helped the band ride their new wave of popularity by booking them into major events like the Gold Rush Festival and securing a coveted performance on The Ed Sullivan Show in October 1969. Santana's self-titled debut album became a massive success, spending an astonishing 108 weeks on the Billboard 200 chart and peaking at number 4 in November. While their first single, Jingo, only reached number 56, it was Evil Ways that broke through in a big way, climbing to number 9 and spending 13 weeks among the top-ranked songs. Interestingly, the decision to include Evil Ways came from Bill Graham, who urged the band to cover Willie Bobo's version. The success of the album didn't just bring fame, it also allowed Carlos to fulfill a heartfelt promise to his mother. With his first royalty check, he bought her a house and made sure it had everything she needed, including a brand new refrigerator. As Santana's music career soared, so did changes in his personal life. In 1973, Carlos married Deborah King, the daughter of blues musician Saunders King. They met at a concert at the Marin Civic Center and quickly began building a life together. Over the years, their relationship became not only a marriage but also a strong business partnership. Deborah played a crucial role in managing Carlos's career and finances, especially in the 1990s when Carlos admitted he might have ended up with nothing without her support. Together, they raised 3 children, Salvador, who became a songwriter and band leader, Stella, a singer and songwriter, and Angelica, a writer and film producer. Their marriage lasted 34 years, and by 1994, they had taken full control of the Santana Band, with Deborah serving as vice president and COO of Santana Management. In 1998, the couple also founded the Milagro Amaro Foundation to support underprivileged children worldwide. Deborah was a key force behind the success of Santana's 1999 album Supernatural, which went platinum 15 times and earned 9 Grammy Awards. But their marriage, while outwardly strong, was not without deep struggles. In her 2005 memoir Space Between the Stars, Deborah revealed that Carlos had been unfaithful. The revelations, along with other personal issues, led to their divorce in 2007. After the book's release, Carlos publicly admitted to his infidelity. He expressed deep regret and apologized to Deborah and their children, explaining that he had not been in the right frame of mind and vowing to become the man they needed him to be. That period marked the lowest point in Santana's life. The pain from the divorce sent him into a spiral of despair, triggering a spiritual and emotional breakdown that led to 7 suicide attempts. He felt so overwhelmed by pain that he believed death might be better than continuing to suffer. But each time he tried, something held him back. He described hearing a soft yet powerful voice saying, "I'm sitting next to you. Isn't that enough?" These profound spiritual moments, along with lighting a candle and looking at a picture of Jesus, helped guide him away from the edge. The divorce and emotional collapse also resurfaced painful memories of the childhood trauma he had endured when he was sexually abused at age 10 by a friend of his father. Through deep faith, Carlos eventually found the strength to forgive his abuser, describing forgiveness as a freeing act that allowed him to reclaim his peace. His spiritual path has been filled with highs and lows. In 1973, his guru Sri Chinmoy gave him the spiritual name, Devadip, meaning the lamp, light, and eye of God. Though Santana eventually parted ways with his guru in 1982 due to personal disagreements, the influence of that spiritual connection never left him. It helped guide him through some of the darkest moments of his life, and led him toward the light. Later in life, Carlos Santana embraced Christianity, finding a deep sense of peace in his faith. By 2015, he was so committed that he even spoke about becoming a church minister after retiring from music. He had plans to open a church in Maui, Hawaii, where he hoped to share spiritual teachings. But long before this chapter, in 1999, Santana made an incredible comeback at the age of 52 with the release of Supernatural, an album that would go on to become one of the biggest successes in music history, selling over 30 million copies worldwide. The comeback was sparked by music executive Clive Davis, who had originally signed Santana to Columbia Records back in 1969. Davis proposed they work together again, a major risk considering Santana hadn't had a top 10 hit since 1971. But the gamble paid off in a way no one expected. At the 2000 Grammy Awards, Santana made history by winning 9 awards in a single night, tying with Michael Jackson for the most Grammys ever won at once. The Supernatural album hit number 1 in 11 countries and held the top spot on the US charts for 12 weeks. Santana also became the first Hispanic artist to win the Grammy for Album of the Year. One of the most iconic tracks from Supernatural was Smoo, but it almost didn't make it to the album. The song began as a rough idea called Room 17, about a groupie meeting Santana in a hotel room. A&R executive Pete Gonmarg believed the album needed a big hit and pushed for its inclusion. At first, Santana wasn't interested, but a personal message from Clive Davis changed his mind. Rob Thomas, then living a quiet life in Manhattan, was brought in to write and sing the track. Santana wanted to record it live with Thomas and the band in the studio, which he said created a tsunami of positivity. The result was a massive global hit. Smooth became the final number 1 song of the 1990s and the first of the 2000s, staying atop the Billboard Hot 100 for 12 weeks, remaining in the top 10 for 30 weeks, and on the charts for a total of 58 weeks. Carlos Santana's life story is a testament to how far perseverance and passion can take someone. From working as a dishwasher and playing for tips on the streets of San Francisco in the 1960s, he rose to become a music icon with an estimated net worth of $120 million. The massive success of Supernatural alone generated over $375 million in sales. Santana also became a savvy businessman, investing in real estate, including a $6 million home in Las Vegas and a $20.5 million estate in Hawaii, and launching a chain of Mexican restaurants called Maria Maria with chef Roberto Santibanez. Even at 77 years old, Santana hasn't slowed down. He continues to perform in Las Vegas at the House of Blues in the Mandalay Bay Resort and Casino. His residency, titled An Intimate Evening with Santana, Greatest Hits Live, has been running for over 13 years and is extended through 2025. He performs high-energy shows several nights a week, with new dates already scheduled for early 2025. Santana is also one of the rare artists, alongside the Rolling Stones, to have had an album in the top 10 in every decade since the 1960s. A portion of the money from his shows goes to charities such as the Milagro Foundation and the House of Blues Music Forward Foundation, reflecting his dedication to giving back. However, health issues caught up with him in 2024. Carlos had to cancel several major shows due to urgent back surgery. He called off his September 2nd show in Phoenix and his September 4th concert in Albuquerque. He also postponed several September and October performances in Las Vegas. Despite these setbacks, Santana still managed to perform on August 27th, 28th, 30th, and 31st, including a special show at the Kia Forum in Inglewood where he played 5 tracks from Supernatural to mark its 25th anniversary. These performances proved that even with health challenges, Santana could still deliver electrifying music. In 2023, Santana faced a major controversy after making remarks about gender identity during a concert in Atlantic City, New Jersey. During an unscripted 15-minute speech, he stated that gender is decided before birth, a comment that made many audience members uncomfortable and quickly went viral after being shared online. He was quoted saying, "When God made you and me, before we came out of the womb, you know who you are and what you are." The backlash was swift. Santana initially posted an apology on Facebook, acknowledging that his comments had hurt people. But shortly afterward, he deleted the apology and replaced it with a cryptic poem, beginning with the line, "The energy of," leaving fans and followers puzzled. This controversy became a rare blemish in an otherwise celebrated and deeply spiritual career. Consciousness, Carlos Santana believes, generates its own kind. Hate begets hate, love begets love. This philosophy added more weight to the controversy surrounding him in 2023, particularly since it came at a time when numerous anti-LGBTQ+ bills were being introduced across the U.S., many of them specifically targeting transgender youth. During the same Atlantic City concert where he made remarks about gender identity, Santana also publicly expressed support for comedian Dave Chappelle, saying, "I am like this with my brother Dave Chappelle," indicating a close bond. This fueled even more backlash, as Chappelle had already faced intense criticism for his Netflix special The Closer, which contained controversial comments about the transgender community. Santana's vocal support came during a sensitive moment in the U.S. political landscape, making his comments even more inflammatory. Advocacy groups and civil rights leaders, including figures from San Francisco Pride, criticized Santana's stance. Many warned that when influential celebrities make such statements, it can further marginalize and endanger transgender individuals, especially in a climate of increasing hostility. The criticism was especially sharp because Santana is a prominent figure in the Bay Area and holds a significant platform in the music world. Despite the controversy, Santana's music continues to resonate, and his band has evolved into a family-centered collaboration. His wife, Cindy Blackman Santana, has been the band's drummer since 2015. At 64, Cindy is a powerhouse performer, often stealing the spotlight with her talent. At the Kia Forum show, she stunned the audience with a breathtaking drum solo during the encore after "Are You Ready?" Santana's son from his first marriage, Salvador, also plays a key role in the band. At 41, Salvador contributes with keyboards, percussion, vocals, and even rap, adding fresh energy to songs like Maria Maria. Their performances, part of the Oneness Tour, feature an 18-song setlist that blends timeless classics with newer hits, highlighting the family's musical bond and evolution. Looking ahead, Carlos and his family are preparing for an extended residency at the House of Blues in Las Vegas in 2025. The show, titled An Intimate Evening with Santana, Greatest Hits Live, will run from January through May and promises to showcase the extraordinary musical connection within the Santana family. At 77, Carlos Santana continues to reflect deeply on life and mortality. His worldview is shaped by decades of spiritual searching, from his time with Guru Sri Chinmoy to becoming a born-again Christian in 1992. His wife Cindy has also influenced his approach to health and spirituality, and together they prioritize four guiding principles: diet, devotion, dedication, and discipline. Santana believes that true strength comes not only from what you feed your body but also from what you feed your mind and spirit. "You can eat the best food and still be weak if you don't think correctly," he says. His spiritual beliefs remain a powerful force in his life. He once had a profound mystical experience involving the Virgin of Guadalupe, which deeply transformed him. Now, he often asks others, "What is God saying to you right now?" A question that reflects his desire to awaken spiritual consciousness in others. Santana's message to his fans goes far beyond music. He urges people to recognize and celebrate their inner light and divine nature, encouraging hope and courage, especially in difficult times. He sees his purpose as not just entertaining but inspiring, bringing peace, comfort, and unity to those who need it. His commitment to making a difference is reflected in the Milagro Foundation, which he founded in 1998 to support education and health for underprivileged children worldwide. Santana also stands firm on social justice. At a civil rights-themed Atlanta Braves game, he made his mission clear. "I am here to give a voice to the invisible." Through his music, activism, and spiritual leadership, Carlos Santana continues to be more than a legendary guitarist. He is a voice for healing, transformation, and global compassion.